What's up, everybody? Damon here, and in today's gaming news, Sony will follow the Helldivers 2 model with all of its live service games going forward. Stellar Blade was the best-selling game of April, and the current PS5 generation is Sony's most profitable console generation ever. This is your Daily Fix. Newly appointed PlayStation CEOs Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst have discussed the company's perspective on live service games, PC releases, and much more in their first presentation as co-leaders. PlayStation is prioritizing a mix of tentpole single-player games alongside live service games going forward, but will pull from the success of Helldivers 2 and launch all upcoming live service games on PC and PS5 simultaneously. Hulst said, "We are bringing our titles to the PC platform, and we have a dual approach here on the live service side. We are releasing our titles simultaneously, so day and date, on PlayStation 5 and PC, but with our tentpole titles, our single-player narrative-driven titles that are, as you saw in the presentation, the backbone of what PlayStation Studios has delivered in recent years and in our history, we take a more strategic approach. We introduce our great franchises to new audiences, and we're finding new audiences that are potentially going to be very interested in playing, for example, sequels on the PlayStation platform. We have high hopes that we're actually able to bring new players into PlayStation at large and into PlayStation platforms specifically. Actually, the same goes for the work that we do with extending our great properties onto other media, such as television series and film." Helldivers 2 is a prime example of this strategy, and according to Hulst, it, quote, "highlights the strength of our live services efforts, as well as the increased returns and reach we can realize by bringing our games to new formats and audiences beyond the PlayStation consoles." Indeed, Helldivers 2 is the best-selling game of the year so far. But what was the best-selling game of April 2024, you ask? Well, it was Stellar Blade, the third-person action game by developer Shift Up. Matt Piscatella, executive director of video games at Circana, noted in the latest report that Stellar Blade was the only new release in April that ranked among the top 20 best-selling premium video games, beating out other new releases in April, such as Sandland and Another Crab's Treasure. Stellar Blade was followed by Helldivers 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to round out the top three. Piscatella further elaborated on the April report, explaining on Twitter that although it was a great achievement for Stellar Blade to rank first in US sales last month, it did have the lowest sales to lead since April 2012, when Radical Entertainment's action-adventure game Prototype 2 secured the #1 spot. More interestingly, Piscatella wrote that PS5 sales were trending ahead of PS4, but deduced that 2023 might have been the PS5's peak year for sales in the United States. In contrast, the PS5's competition, the Xbox Series X and S consoles, are trailing Xbox One by 13%, and both systems remain slightly behind the Xbox 360 in terms of US sales. The data comes nearly 2 weeks after Sony's statistics revealed that half of PlayStation players have yet to upgrade from a PS4 to a PS5. And finally today, the PlayStation 5 generation is officially the most profitable Sony console generation to date, according to new data shared by the company. This comes from the company's Game and Network Services business segment meeting, slides and presentation, which were shared today following the company's earnings report 2 weeks ago. In the presentation, Sony revealed that the PS5 generation has brought in $106 billion in sales since launch, outpacing every past console at the same point in its generation. Now, a couple things to note. Sony reports that the PS4 generation brought in a total of $107 billion in sales, which is obviously more than $106 billion. But that was the entire PS4 generation from fiscal 2013 through fiscal 2019, and includes 3 more years than the PS5 generation so far, fiscal 2020 to fiscal 2023. 4 years into the PS4's life cycle, it was still well behind where the PS5 is now, and the PS5 is on pace to easily pass the PS4 gen's total sales sometime this year. Also worth noting that these dollar amounts are total sales over the course of a console generation, not a reflection of specific hardware or game sales. The PS5 generation encompasses not just the PS5 itself, but everything the business is doing during this generation, including PS4 sales and game releases during this period. And as I said earlier, half of PlayStation players have yet to upgrade from a PS4 to a PS5, so the PS5 gen is getting a big assist from its predecessor. And that is your Daily Fix for Thursday, May 30th. Hopefully, you've heard about IGN Live, happening June 7th to the 9th in Los Angeles. I've managed to secure some free tickets for you, yes you. Go to IGN.com/live and enter code FIX to redeem a free single-day ticket and come watch a live taping of your favorite IGN podcast, or a live interview with Xbox's Phil Spencer, or go hands-on with a bunch of upcoming games, and so much more. That's IGN.com/live and code FIX for your free ticket. I'm Damon Hatfield, and for all your video game news, stay tuned to IGN.